let it be formulation of a 5-year plan for social justice department, let it be an issue of scholarship for the students, let it be an issue of economic empowerment of the disadvantaged groups. He always was kind enough to help me and guide me. All other dignitaries on the dais, I would just take 2 to 3 minutes of yours, because then in another session also I'm going to speak. I want to thank Dr. Sukhdev Thorat for one very important thing. I have completed around 20 years of my service into IAS, and he is the only man I found who methodically studies the problems, whether social or economic or political, with facts and figures in such a scholarly manner as was expected by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, who himself was a great scholar, And he always fought with some kind of evidences, and therefore he was able to succeed and he was able to give us what he gave us. So therefore I admire Dr. Sukhdev Thorat, and let me tell you that I haven't seen a person like him, as I said, in these 20 years of my service, that who works in such a methodical fashion. Here also now we are going to come out with 2 volumes, basically on Maharashtra. Since last 2 years we had been discussing on these various issues, and it was my request also to him that, he should come out with certain concrete things so that people should have the feel that what is the actual situation on the ground. As an administrator, I feel that unless and until we have some kind of a quantifiable data, now everybody of you know about what is quantifiable data because of that Nagraj judgment. If this kind of a data is made available, then the policy and policy making becomes very easy for the administrator and also for the government. He has done this tremendous job, and in his lecture he will explain you the various data and the purpose behind it. But as he said, he always says, it's not only the economics that is important, but also the social factors which are important. Therefore, he is also coming out with the data on the atrocities. With such kind of data, I think it would be easy for us, for you, for me, to come out with some kind of suggestions. क्योंकि सिर्फ किसी बात के लिए कि हमें ये चाहिए वो चाहिए, ये बोलकर होता नहीं है. You have to suggest the remedies, and I think we'll get some knowledge and we'll be able to put some kind of a good remedies through this data, through this book. I wish all the success for this association, and I wish a very, very long life to Dr. Sukhdev Thorat, sir. Thank you so much.
धन्यवाद सर. इसके पश्चात कि वे इस सामाजिक संगठन की आवश्यकता, हेतु तथा परिचय, यह सभी संदर्भ में हमें मार्गदर्शन करें. डॉक्टर सुखदेव थोरात सर.
सम्मानीय श्री हमीद अंसारी जी, the former Vice President of India, and participants who have come from all part of the regions, the distinguished guests on the dais, of course, the guests from Konkan, Mumbai, Western Maharashtra, Khandesh, Marathwada, Vidarbha, Nagpur, and of course many people from adjoining cities, person from the media, and ladies and gentlemen. मैं आपको इस संस्था के बारे में और इस एसोसिएशन का जो पर्पस है इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का, ये बताने के पहले मैं बड़े डीप सेंस ऑफ ग्रैटिट्यूड से ऑनरेबल सी हमीद अंसारी जी का, और उन्होंने कहा कि ये जब मैं फ्री हो जाऊंगा तब मैं प्रोग्राम मुझे तय करने होंगे, और उसके बाद मैंने जब उनको फ़ोन किया कौशिक जी को, तो उन्होंने कहा कि आपकी डेट मार्क है, आप आ जाइए। दूसरे दिन उन्होंने मुझे अपॉइंटमेंट दी। सर, आई एम रियली ग्रेटफुल टू यू दैट यू हैव टेकन आउट अ टाइम एंड बी अ पार्ट ऑफ अस। आपकी जो मार्जिनलाइज आए है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे के दिन इसको फॉर्मली लॉन्च किया जाए, और खुशी हमें इस बात की है कि सी अंसारी जी के हाथ से यह लॉन्च होगी। और दूसरा जो है कि पिछले 3 साल से जो महाराष्ट्र की जो गरीबी और समानता और भेदभाव, इसके ऊपर काम कर रहे हैं। यहाँ एक हमारे साथी भी बैठे हैं, डॉक्टर तागडे, वो बहुत पीछे से काम करते हैं लेकिन उनको क्रेडिट मिलता नहीं है उतना। ये 3 साल से हम ये कर रहे हैं। 150 पेजेस की छोटी सी किताब निकाली है, बड़ी किताब आ जाएंगी ऑक्सफोर्ड की तरफ से। महाराष्ट्र में गरीबी और इनइक्वलिटी की स्थिति क्या है एग्रीगेट लेवल पे, लेकिन ग्रुप लेवल पे भी। आदिवासी, शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब, रिलीजियस माइनॉरिटी लाइक बुद्धिस्ट, मुस्लिम, हिंदू, क्रिश्चियंस, ये रिपोर्ट स्थिति आपको दिखाता है महाराष्ट्र की। उसका आज रिलीज होगा। और उसके बाद उसके साथ साथ अलग से एक डॉक्यूमेंट है जिसमें पॉलिसी सजेशन दी हुई है महाराष्ट्र सरकार के लिए। उसके बाद दूसरा जो रिपोर्ट है वो अनटचेबिलिटी एंड एट्रोसिटी इन महाराष्ट्र। आपने देखा होगा कि पिछले कुछ दिनों से महाराष्ट्र में अनटचेबिलिटी के इशू को लेकर काफ़ी वाद विवाद हो रहा है, शक्ति प्रदर्शन भी हुआ है रास्ते पे। तो ये 2 ड्यूअल पर्पज इसका है। ये दोनों रिपोर्ट हर एक पार्टिसिपेंट को दी जाएगी, इंग्लिश में भी है, मराठी में भी है, और आप उसको पढ़िए और समझिए, उससे आपका फ़ायदा होगा। मुझे मालूम है सब संगठन के लोग यहाँ आए हुए हैं, वो उनके लिए ये एक फ़ायदेमंद चीज़ होगी। मैं इतना ही कहूँगा, आफ्टरनून में इस पे डिस्कशन किया जाएगा। महामहिम श्री अंसारी जी भी अपने भाषण में इस बात का जिक्र करेंगे, इसलिए मैं महाराष्ट्र की समस्या के बारे में कुछ नहीं कहना चाहूँगा। इतना ही कहूँगा कि महाराष्ट्र की स्थिति विषमता के मामले में कुछ हद तक गंभीर है। एक ही मैं स्टैटिस्टिक देता हूँ कि महाराष्ट्र में पर कैपिटा इनकम जो है, स्टेट डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट जिसको कहते हैं, नंबर 1 पे है। और वही एक मेजर होता है तरक्की मेजर करने का। लेकिन नंबर 1 पे पर कैपिटा इनकम के रूप में होने के बावजूद भी पॉवर्टी में 6वां है। सेकेंडरी हायर एजुकेशन के एनरोलमेंट में लगभग 11वां 13वां है, और माल न्यूट्रिशन में तो नंबर 1 पे है महाराष्ट्र। अब बताइए, जिसका पर कैपिटा इनकम सबसे ज़्यादा है, उसी में सबसे ज़्यादा माल न्यूट्रिशन पाया जाता है, पर्टिकुलरली अमंग द ट्राइबल्स। और जो सबसे गरीब है उसमें आदिवासी है, दलित है, बुद्धिस्ट है, मुस्लिम है। तो ये जो ग्रुप डिस्पैरिटीज है इसमें बाहर निकल आएगी। मैं उसके बारे में ज़्यादा कुछ कहना नहीं चाहूँगा, लेकिन इस इशू को लेके ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन काम करेगी। पहली स्टेप ये है कि समाज में जो सारे गट है उसकी समस्याओं का विश्लेषण करेगी, सरकार के सामने रखेंगी, उसके कॉजेज दे देगी, उसकी सॉल्यूशन देंगी, और एडवोकेसी भी करेगी हर एक गवर्नमेंट के साथ, लीडर के साथ, एनजीओ के साथ, ताकि लोगों में कम से कम ज्ञान बढ़े। जो डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब अम्बेडकर ने कहा था कि बिफोर यू ऑर्गेनाइज एंड एजुकेट, फर्स्ट गेट योर सेल्फ एजुकेटेड। तो ये पहली स्टेप है हमारी कि जिसमें हम आपको, आपका एजुकेशन, आपकी समझ बनाने की कोशिश करेंगे। और ये सारी रिपोर्ट जो है ये आफ्टरनून के सेशन में डिस्कस की जाएंगी, कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन भी रखा जाएगा। मैं प्रोफेसर रहा हूँ, लिखता रहा हूँ, लेकिन एकेडमिक एक्टिविस्ट रहा हूँ, समाज से दूर हटा नहीं। वो सारी देन डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब की है, उनके कॉलेज में मैंने अंडर ग्रेजुएट डिग्री की, तो वो साथ रही है। तो आई एम हैप्पी दैट द ऑनरेबल Vice President, former Vice President, will release the book. I welcome you, sir, once again. I thank you again from the bottom of my heart. But I also welcome all of you who have been helping for this association, participating, and you have come all the way. The hall is completely full. I don't know whether there are people staying outside. The organizer have put up a board there where they can see if there is no enough space here. Thank you very much and welcome you once again.
धन्यवाद सर। इस अवसर पर महामहिम हामिद अंसारी साहब के करकमलों द्वारा संगठन के 2 महत्वपूर्ण दस्तावेज के विमोचन का मानस है। उसमें पहला अहवाल है प्रॉब्लम ऑफ पॉवर्टी एंड इनइक्वालिटी इन महाराष्ट्र, लिंकेजेस विथ वेल्थ इनइक्वालिटीज एंड डिस्क्रिमिनेशन। इसके दो भाग है। पहला है मेमोरेंडम टू द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र और दूसरा है चार्टर ऑफ डिमांड्स। इस अहवाल के दो भाग के अंग्रेजी तथा मराठी संस्करण भी है। मैं भूतपूर्व उपराष्ट्रपति महामहिम डॉक्टर हामिद अंसारी साहब से गुजारिश करूंगा कि वे इस अहवाल का विमोचन करें। इसमें दूसरा अहवाल है अनटचेबिलिटी, कास्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन एंड एट्रोसिटीज इन महाराष्ट्र, मैग्नीट्यूड, कॉजेस एंड सॉल्यूशंस। यह अहवाल भी दो भाग में, पहला भाग है मेमोरेंडम तथा दूसरा भाग है चार्टर ऑफ डिमांड्स। इस अहवाल के भी अंग्रेजी तथा मराठी संस्करण है। मैं महामहिम हामिद अंसारी साहब से गुजारिश करता हूं कि वे इस अहवाल का भी विमोचन करें। इस संस्मरणीय समारोह के मुख्य अतिथि महामहिम हामिद अंसारी साहब से फिर से गुजारिश करता हूं कि वह इस संगठन का उद्घाटन तथा अहवाल प्रकाशन के संदर्भ में हमें मार्गदर्शन करे तथा हमें उपकृत करे।
Professor Sukhdev Thorat, dignitaries on the dais, distinguished guests, visitors from all parts of Maharashtra, ladies and gentlemen. In a moment of weakness many months back, I succumbed to the request of my friend Professor Thorat to be here today to inaugurate the first conference of your association. And having learnt a little more about the association, I do feel that every right-minded citizen of India should be a member of the association. The occasion and the date is of relevance on many counts. We celebrate November 26 as the Constitution Day. It is also the anniversary of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar's return to India after studies abroad. And I do not have to tell this audience about the role he played in the awakening process associated with his name. To me personally, and I hope I am not alone in saying so, the date is important because it follows the day in 1949 when Bhimrao Ambedkar made his most important, his most succinct, his most relevant speech for India and Indians. In it, he summed up the constitution-making process and unambiguously spelt out the targets, the benefits and pitfalls for his audience in the Constituent Assembly and for future generations of citizens. Allow me to repeat the three things he said citizens must do to maintain democracy in form and in fact. 1. To hold fast to constitutional methods of achieving our social and economic objectives and to resort to unconstitutional methods only when there was no way left for constitutional methods. Second, take care not to lay their liberties at the feet of even a great man or trust him with power which enables him to subvert their institutions, because, as he said, in politics, bhakti or hero worship is a sure road to degradation and to eventual dictatorship. And thirdly, citizens must not be content with mere political democracy that cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy. Dr. Ambedkar defined social democracy as a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality, and fraternity as the principles of life, as interdependent as a trinity that cannot be separated. Having outlined the ideals, Bhimrao Ambedkar was brutally honest in assessing the prevailing reality in our society and asking his audience to accept that there is both an absence of equality in our society and a lack of recognition of fraternity as a basic principle. The objectives were thus clearly spelt out and were inscribed in the Constitution. Their implementation over a period of almost 7 decades gives us a fair opportunity to assess it on 3 counts. 1, what has actually been done. 2, what are the shortfalls? And 3, how should we proceed from here? The theme of this conference, namely emerging challenges of socio-economic equality and erosion of secular state, thus gives us an opportunity to examine the scorecard. There should also be no ambiguity about the intrinsic linkage between the 2 dimensions of the subject, since in a diverse and composite society like ours, no effort at seeking socio-economic equality between citizens is possible unless the state as the implementing agency is secular in letter and spirit and acts at all times to implement the provisions of Articles 14, 15, and 16 of the Constitution. Any erosion in the secular functioning of the state is thus detrimental to the totality of the objectives set out in the Constitution. Friends, the focus of today's conference is on problems of poverty and inequality in Maharashtra. The specific subjects listed in the concept paper can be summed up in 3 categories: poverty, education, and employment. Since its creation in 1960, the state of Maharashtra has made considerable progress in terms of human development indicators such as income per capita, poverty, nutrition, education, and civic amenities. And Professor Thorat referred to it briefly. Let me list these out. Firstly, poverty levels in the state have been reduced from 49% in 1993 to 17% in 2012. Secondly, literacy rates have improved from 65% in 1991 to 82% in 2011. and enrollment in secondary and higher education and higher secondary education has improved from 71% in 2007-8 to 87% in 2014-15. Also, the enrollment rate for higher education has improved from 20% in 2007-8 to 31% in 2015. And thirdly, the availability of housing, drinking water, electricity and latrine has improved. The percentage of households without safe drinking water, latrine and electricity, that was 36, 65 and 22% respectively in the year 2001, was reduced to 32, 47 and 16% respectively in 2011. Similar improvements have occurred in income, poverty, education, civic communities, and civil rights for the scheduled castes, OBCs, scheduled tribes, high caste denotified tribes, women and minorities, meaning Muslims and Buddhists. However, and this is important, development has been unequal. Poverty and inequalities still persist, and the goal of secure better life for all remains elusive. Progress in human development indicators is slow. The poor have benefited less than the non-poor, making the development in Maharashtra less pro-poor and unequal. In many respects, it compares less favorably to states having lower per capita income. Thus, in the year 2012, Maharashtra ranked second in per capita income, but sixth in poverty levels, highest in malnutrition, sixth in proportion of anemic children, and fifth in proportion of anemic women, ninth in the enrollment rate of higher education, ninth and 14th in secondary and higher secondary, and lags behind in indicators like poverty, malnutrition, health, and school higher education, despite being second in per capita income. The reports that have just been released for discussions focus firstly on the nature of the unequal development in the state, secondly on its causes, and thirdly on the policy reforms to bring improvement in the well-being of the poor people. As many of you would be aware, unequal human development is measured by looking at two sets of inequalities. Firstly, interpersonal, and secondly, intergroup. The interpersonal inequalities are between individuals such as poor and non-poor, and would include differences between male and female, scheduled caste, OBCs, and high castes, tribal and nomadic, and denotified and non-tribal, and between Hindus, Muslims, and Buddhists. These, despite reduction in poverty levels, show that in the year 2012, about 17% persons were poor, of whom 25% were rural and 9% urban. The poorest amongst these were casual wage labor. Workers in informal sectors and small farmers and small non-farmer entrepreneurs are poorer. This is reflected in data relating to availability of drinking water, housing, latrine facilities, children's health, illiteracy, and housing, and results from inequality in ownership of wealth, in regular salaried employment, in unemployment, and in education. These bring forth inequalities in income and result in high poverty for those who lack assets, employment, and education. Wealth means land, building, farm and non-farm machinery, and share and deposits. In the year 2013, top 20% of households in Maharashtra owned 84% of wealth, while 80% owned 20%. The top 20% households owned 72% of state land, 86% of buildings, 57 to 62% of shares and deposits and finance deposits, but the bottom 20% of the households owned only 0.4% of land, 0.2% of buildings, and 0.5% to 1% of shares and deposits or finance. Land assets are an important source of income in rural areas where half the population lives. In 2013, the top 10% owned almost 56% of agricultural land, as against only 0.1% by the bottom 10%. As a result, the proportion of small farms of less than 5 acres is almost 72%. The result is low income and poverty amongst them. Similar inequality is observed in ownership of private enterprises or businesses that are the main source of income for about 11% of the household in rural and 30% in urban areas. Their turnover and income is low. Persons who are without income earning assets depend on the wage labor. In 2012, wage workers were 53% of the total workers. Of these, the regular salaried workers were about 26%, and the remaining 26% were casual laborers on even lower wages. In the final analysis, employability is dependent on education levels. This, in turn, is reflective of inequality in income groups. In 2014, the enrollment rate in higher education for the bottom income group was about 16%. For the middle income group, it was 22 to 25%. It was 38% for the upper middle and 75% for the top income group. These facts lay bare the reality of the situation. Even more pervasive is the category of intergroup inequalities relating to disparities between castes, tribes, religious minorities, and male-female. In caste or tribal terms, the scheduled castes are 54%. The scheduled tribes are 54%, and scheduled castes, who are 20%, are the poorest compared with the OBCs, who are 14%, and high caste, who are 9%. The OBCs are less poor than the scheduled caste or scheduled tribes, but more poor than high caste. The scheduled caste and scheduled tribes also lag behind the OBCs and high castes in education attainment, availability of civic amenities like housing, water, latrine, and electricity at home. The scheduled castes also face denial of civic and economic rights in many spheres, if not in all, on account of the persistence of untouchability and caste discrimination. This is clear from the data for the 20 years period from 1995 to 2015, in which scheduled castes in Maharashtra registered a total of 22,253 incidents of denial of equal rights. Amongst religious minorities, Buddhists are the poorest, accounting for 28%, followed by Muslims, accounting for 19%, and Hindus, accounting for 12%. Buddhists and Muslims also lag behind in education and access to civic amenities. Differentiation on grounds of sex is reflected in women and girl child, particularly amongst the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, suffering from higher levels of malnutrition and anemia. In demographic terms, the Buddhists constitute 5.8% of Maharashtra's population, the Muslims constitute 11.54%, and the Hindus constitute 79.83%. The sources of group inequality and poverty vary amongst groups. The main reason for low income and high poverty amongst the scheduled castes compared with OBC and high caste is low ownership of income earning assets like agricultural land and private enterprises, and a range of critical handicaps in education, employability, and wage structures. Ladies and gentlemen, a recently published book, its title is Caste, Discrimination and Exclusion in Modern India, has shown with irrefutable data that, and I quote the authors there, that underpinning all forms of disadvantage is the practice of untouchability with regard to Dalits and consideration of Muslims being seen as others, end of quote. It pleads for equality not only in law but in actual practice. The conclusion is unavoidable that human development in Maharashtra, like in other parts of our land, is unequal, and that the requirement of justice and social peace demands that it be addressed on a priority basis and be made equitable. This is the target that this association has set for itself. It highlights the importance of group action and also sets a model for emulation for other states in the country. Jai Hind.
शुक्रिया साहब, हम आपके तहे दिल से शुक्रगुजार हैं। अंततः इस संगठन के सदस्य माननीय प्राध्यापक डॉक्टर गौतम गौड़ी साहब से मैं आभार व्यक्त करने के लिए आमंत्रित करूंगा।
Honorable Sri Hamid Ansari ji, Professor Sukhdev Thorat, Dr. Harshdeep Kamble, It's a great pleasure for me to propose vote of thanks at this historical conference, which is being inaugurated today. First of all, I thank our former Honorable Vice President Hamid Ansari ji for sparing his valuable time and guiding us at this occasion. I also take this opportunity to thank Dr. Aman Kamble, an IS officer, a Commissioner of Industries, Government of Maharashtra, for being present here for this very important conference. I also thank Mr. Fulzele ji for providing us this venue on this esteemed premises, Diksha Bhumi. I thank all of you for being present for this historical event. I also thank media, press for covering this conference. Thank you very much.
इस सत्र का समारोह राष्ट्रगीत से होगा। मैं संतागार में विराजमान सभी से अनुरोध करता हूं कि राष्ट्रगीत के लिए वो खड़े हो जाएं। जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल वंग, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंग, तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे, गाहे तव जय गाथा, जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे। धन्यवाद। घेतले ना? लगेच दुसरं सत्र सुरू होणार आहे, याची कृपया नोंद घ्यावी. सभागृहातील सर्व मान्यवरांना मी अशी विनंती करतो की या परिषदेचं दुसरं सत्र लगेच सुरू होत आहे, याची कृपया नोंद घ्यावी. आता आपला मुख्य कार्यक्रम सुरू होणार आहे, तर त्यामुळे सभागृहाच्या बाहेर जेवढे मान्यवर आहेत त्या सगळ्या मान्यवरांना मी अशी विनंती करतो की त्यांनी सभागृहात यावे. लगेच दुसऱ्या सत्राला सुरुवात होईल.